government in 2016 purchased 350 vehicles for onward distribution to transport operators at 18 million cedis more than it would have cost if the same vehicles were bought from the showroom. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, the GPRTU, which was to receive the vehicles for redistribution to its members, rejected the vehicles, citing the costs at which it was being offered to them. Manasseh Azuria-Wene spent the last 7 months investigating how various vehicles procured by the states have been grounded. In the first of the series titled Grounded Wheels, Manasseh delves into the reason the MASLOC vehicles have been at the mercy of the weather for more than 2 years.
In the National Security Yard behind the Accra International Conference Center, 350 vehicles procured by the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC, are parked with some of the saloon cars completely covered with overgrown weeds. The vehicles are made up of 133-seater Isuzu buses, 100 Chevy Sparklight saloon cars, and 150 Chevy Aveo saloon cars. MASLOC procured these vehicles in 2016 for the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, but the GPRTU rejected them. The Chief Executive Officer of MASLOC, Stephen Amwa, says the Transport Union rejected the vehicles because they are overpriced.
If you look at the prices and compare that to market averages, the prices were outrageous because those trotro buses and commercial vehicle drivers have their turnovers, the sales they make a day, and for that matter, any car they procure for that purpose should be able to work in that capacity and give them the sales they need to be able to break even.
JoyNews, as part of this investigation, went to the supplier of the vehicles, Mac Autos and Spare Parts Ghana Limited, for quotations in August 2018, 2 years after the company sold the vehicles to MASLOC. We found that the 2016 prices of the vehicles are lower than the 2018 prices, but our investigation revealed that the cost at which the company sold the vehicles to MASLOC in 2016 is far higher than the cost at which it sold to the general public in 2018. For instance, Mac Ghana sold the 33-seater Isuzu bus to the general public in 2018 at $79,000, but sold to MASLOC in 2016 at $107,000, a difference of $28,000 per bus. The company sold the Chevy Sparklight saloon cars in 2018 at $9,000, but sold to MASLOC at $12,500. In 2018, Mac had stopped selling Chevy Aveo saloon cars, but an August 2017 invoice from the company, which JoyNews obtained as part of this investigation, caused the price of each Chevy Aveo vehicle at $14,000. However, the company supplied each of the 150 vehicles to MASLOC at $18,000. In all, the cost of the vehicles sold to MASLOC is higher than the market price of the vehicles by at least $3,750,000 or 18,375,000 Ghana cedis. JoyNews made several attempts to speak to the CEO of MASLOC, who signed the contract at the time, Sedina Tamaklo Atienu, but could not get her to comment. When JoyNews wrote to Mac Ghana for a response, the company denied any wrongdoing. In a letter to JoyNews, Mac Ghana said,
"The reasonable difference in prices of the vehicles sold to MASLOC and the prices sold to the general public was due to the fact that it was not paid upfront in cash, but over a period of 2 years. As such, an interest was put on the price, as is custom in car purchases."
Stephen Amwa believes the amount put on contracts in Ghana are generally too high.
I know all over the world, businesses, they have lobbying fee. So you might have thought of some small margin to manage the transactions that went on. Even America, they have lobbying fee. Whether it's wrong or right, I don't know. But a situation where, just by observation, amounts that are added, sometimes when you think about it, you ask yourself, so do we have mosques and churches in Ghana, like buildings? I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm not perfect, bro. I'm not an angel. But I think what is really destroying Ghana is corruption. There's nothing else. whether NDC, CPP, we have good people who are learned. But why? It's corruption. Why? It's corruption.
JoyNews investigation revealed more anomalies with this contract beyond the prices. We secured a record of all the vehicles imported by MAC Ghana from January 2016 to December 2017. We also secured details of all the vehicles cleared by the company for which duty was paid. When the details of the vehicles supplied to MASLOC were searched from the vehicles cleared, they were not found. Our checks with the Ghana Revenue Authority confirmed that the company did not pay duty on the vehicles it supplied to MASLOC. According to the GRA, duty on the 350 vehicles amounted to 10,500,000 Ghana cedis. Further investigations revealed that the Ministry of Finance had written to waive the duty for the company pending a parliamentary approval, which did not happen. Our investigation, however, revealed the company was not entitled to a duty waiver according to the terms of the contract. Article 32 of the contract states, and I quote, "A supplier shall be entirely responsible for all taxes, duties, licenses, fees, etc. incurred until the delivery of the contracted goods to the final destination," end of quote. GPRTU executive told JoyNews the union had its own preference, but MASLOC insisted on MAC Ghana. Besides, MASLOC did not discuss the prices or sign any contract with them before importing the 350 vehicles. A procurement specialist, Kobina Atabedu, says government committed a series of anomalies in the transaction.
My understanding of this is that GPRTU said that they want government to assist them to acquire vehicles. GPRTU had their own preference of vehicles they want. So that is the specification. How come government decided that we are going to go to MAC and that is what we will give you? That is a red flag for me. Number two, why should it be a sole source or a single source? And where is the approval? Did they get PPA to do an approval for that single source? Now, if PPA did an approval for that single source, what kind of due diligence did they do before they decided to give them the approval? Because if I look at the analysis here, they quoted in cedi. The contract was given out in Ghana cedi. We have ended up paying in USD as against the contract. That itself is a flaw on government's part.
He also commented on the value of the vehicles.
When a vehicle drives out of the showroom, as soon as it comes out of the showroom, 20% of the vehicle has depreciated. It's gone. The value is gone. So if we are to sell those cars today, we will have lost money. Because by accounting standards, you can depreciate a car over a maximum of 5 years and a minimum of 3 years. So if we take the maximum, it means every year 20% of the value of the car is gone. So as soon as the car drove out of the showroom, so if you buy a car today, you take it back the next day and say, I want my money back, they'll give you your money minus 20%. So we've put those cars there, dumped them in the sun.
Since 2016?
Since 2016. So 2016, 2017, 2018, now we are in 2019, 4 years. The value of those cars, book.
The fate of the vehicles is not known. What is known is that irrespective of how the vehicles are disposed of, the state will have to sell them at a lower price than it bought them. For JoyNews, Manasseh Azure Arena reporting.
A member of pressure group Occupy Ghana, Sydney Kesley-Hayford, joins us via phone on the back of this investigative piece. Thanks for your time. First of all, what do you make of this investigation report?
I really don't know what your report is about because I haven't heard anything.
Well, we'll have to come back to you on that. Sydney Kesley-Hayford, joining us with some details, but not quiet after he's listened to those reports. But meanwhile, procurement expert Kobina Atabedu believes people are using the Procurement Act to beat the system. He's therefore advising heads of procurement institutions should be licensed to streamline their activities. Mr. Atabedu is advising government to give the vehicles to schools and other institutions that have need for them following the laid down procurement procedures. I spoke to him earlier.
Outlined in the Act 663, the Public Procurement Act,
on how to dispose vehicles. So I am expecting that government will follow that process for the disposal of it.
But the value won't be the same?
So most definitely. It's those cars have sat in the sun for 4 years. Typically, by accounting standards, you depreciate an asset like a vehicle over a maximum of 5 years and a minimum of 3 years. So even if you want to stretch it to the 5 years, it means every year we lose 20% of the value. So on the books, the book value would be 20% in 2019. But if you want to sell it on the open market, you'd have a residual value which is higher than the book value. Government has a need for buses for secondary schools. I'd expect that rather than auction them at a less par value, they should send them to the schools for them to use it, or give it to MMDAs to use. There are people who are public servants who need vehicles, who need motivation. There are nurses and doctors and all those people who need them, teachers. They should give them to them.
What has happened? What's been the experience? Because this is not the first time that we
That's the sad part. It's happened too many times. Aside the gallopers, in 2009, when Kufuor left, there were a stack number of cars that were parked at the NIA yard. I don't know what happened to them eventually, but I went there, I took pictures of them myself. And it was disheartening to watch buses, several pickups, and other off-road vehicles parked in the sun, rotting away for whatever reason nobody knows. And we don't seem to learn as a people. You keep making the same mistakes.
Because I was just going to ask, why do we continue to do it? What do you think? Who's failing us?
The people who are vested with power to take decisions on our behalf. If citizens could make the decisions, I'll go and make the right decisions and I'll catch people and throw them into jail. But I don't have the power. There are people who have been vested with power to ensure that these things are done right. They should just do their job.
But if we give the vehicles out, as you've prescribed, give it to schools that need them, other employees of the state who need vehicles, but let's look at how much we purchase these vehicles for and what we're putting it to now.
See, at the end of the day, this is more like sunk cost. Whether we like it or not, we've lost money in the millions of dollars. What do we do with it? We can put a bell on it and decide that auction, everybody come and take and give me a price. You won't get much value from that. So I think it would be better that we find government agencies and departments and staff who need vehicles anyway. I have a special school for the deaf at Ashaman. If they get a bus and a saloon car, it will be good for the school. They should go and give them some. It will be a much better use of that money than to try and sell them off.
What should we be doing from the procurement point of view to persons who obviously purchased these products that we don't have a use for?
Section 91 or 92 of it speaks to how you can penalize people for violations of the Act. This is clearly money lost to the state. It is causing financial loss. Somebody should be held accountable. Somebody should be responsible for this. It shouldn't just be swept under the carpet. If we don't do this, impunity will continue. Impunity is when you do things that are not acceptable and you know that you can do it because nobody will do anything to you. When you do it and you suffer a penalty, you would be careful and you think twice when you have to do it.
What kind of reactions are you hoping that this story would provoke, considering these vehicles have been sitting there for all this while?
I think Ghanaians are not angry enough. If Ghanaians were angry enough at the way our politicians, and I'm not talking about this government, because this happened under the previous government, but this government has every right to do something about it. And if they fail us, Ghanaians should be angry enough to march to these people and demand from them. Either they leave or we do what has to be done. But Ghanaians are not angry enough. Ghanaians must begin to be angry.
Let's move the conversation a bit forward to what can be done to ensure subsequent governments do not make such decisions on our behalf. Joining us via phone is Corporate Affairs Manager of Ghana Integrity Initiative, Michael K. Bodi. I'd like to say thank you for your time. And if you've been following the story, what's your initial comments?
Well, my initial comments is one of grief and sadness. Sadness because as a country, we don't seem to be learning from our past. Sadness because even as we struggle to raise the necessary resources to develop, we consistently take decisions that takes away those same scarce resources from potential development projects. So my initial comment is sadness. My initial comment is what is happening to our country.
How can we be confident that this will not happen again?
You cannot be confident, particularly when the lessons thus far point to the fact that we repeat the same mistakes and we are getting the same results. So it is not one of confidence that it will not happen again, but one that we should now look at. What we now should look at is how do we deal with those mistakes such that, people will be mindful of the decisions they take. Because consistently we are shown that we will continue to take decisions that does not inure to the benefit of this country. But good enough, we have legislation in place, such as the Office of the Special Prosecutor, that gives them mandate, which I believe falls within this space. One, the possibility that I think that the Special Prosecutor should look into it as whether there is a possibility that there were any procurement infraction, as to whether there is a possibility of corruption, as to whether there are any. And the Attorney General should be interested in this case because of the potential loss of income or resources or finances to the state. I think that we should not take this case lying down at all, especially because there are a plethora of evidence to show that it has happened before, it is happening, and people don't care what they do with the resources of the state.
You mentioned the special prosecutor and the AG, and you're saying that they should be interested in this matter. This is a JoyNews investigation. Who is expected to carry it forward?
Well, I think that Joy also owes it a responsibility to the state to make a formal report. You see, like we all say, we don't broadcast the thing and then we sit down and hope that something will happen. Evidence in this country shows that nothing will happen if we don't follow through. And therefore, I would plead with Joy FM to go the 9 mile, to follow through, to report officially to the competent authorities so they can pick it up and act on it. And when they have picked it up and nothing is being done, let's mobilize civil society to begin to demand accountability. Anything short of that, I don't think that this country will make any headway, because these things are happening over and over, and it's not as if we are short of lessons to learn from. There are enough lessons that we can learn from. The developer sitting at ILDS is there. I'm sure the number of cars that had been procured with state resources that had been left to rot. Why are we doing this? Meanwhile, not too long ago, we were crying for ambulances. Not too long ago, the various districts, school buses, our schools don't have buses. So why are we doing this to the country? It's something that I don't know, but I believe that we continue to do this because we will get away with it.
There was a comment coming out of me begging, what is wrong with our leaders? Because there was the conversation that the costs of the vehicles had been inflated, yet this administration went ahead to pay the rest of the money.
Hello?
Can you hear me all right? Because I can hear you.
Yeah, you said something about the inflation of the contract.
There was there's also the talk about the fact that the figures have been inflated. And I'm asking, because this administration went ahead to pay the rest of the costs for these vehicles.
Yes, so who took the decision to because you see, the buses where somebody would have brought an invoice, some negotiation went into it before the decision to do the procurement. So who took the decision? Who are we holding accountable? You see, it is about accountability, and we need to hold everybody along the value chain of these actions accountable. If we don't do that, people will take these decisions and get away with it. It is about holding every individual concerned with this transaction accountable. The one who took the decision, whether it went through procurement, and if it went through procurement, who approved such a procurement, and where are the other bits? Is there anything we can compare? I think we need to hold everybody accountable for this decision, because it is one too many.
Very interesting that after making the revelation, bringing the facts, for everybody to see, we'd still have to go ahead and petition the AG and the special prosecutor. It's one that I've been trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, you see, please, the challenge is that if you bring the allegation, it's an allegation, it's a newspaper report. The AG on his own can take it up if they so want to. But if one will compel them, if we want to hold them accountable for their action, then let's take the first step.
But the fact that the vehicles, the fact that we've got records, we're showing the vehicles have been sitting down for 4 years now. That's not evidence enough.
I believe
it's almost like we're proud that the vehicles are just sitting there.
Yes, I'm saying that the officials know that the vehicles have been sitting there, yet have done nothing about it. 2 years or 3 years down the road. Let's now make a formal complaint so that we can then follow up and check what has been done. You see, if we say we wait and think that they would act and they don't act, they will tell you we are acting. It's in the pipeline. But if we report and then we have the authority to go to them and say we want answers. We reported this case to you. What has been done about it? I mean, we don't have to say it is they and us. All of us have equal responsibility to ensure that the state resources are protected. Over the years, what we have not done too well is to get involved to ensure accountability. So you unearthing the rot, and then you sit back thinking that, well, something would happen. Nothing happens. The next allegation comes up, and then we report it. We don't have that luxury anymore. Let us go the mile and make a conscious effort in ensuring that officials don't act when they have to act by making a formal report.
Finally, is the GII interested in coming on board? What kind of supports, if any?
Currently, I don't have the competence to commit the GII, but I believe strongly that it is well within our mandate. So management will discuss it and we will act on it. We have been working with Troy on a number of anti-corruption cases. We are committed to ensuring that corruption is reduced, or if not eliminated, in this country. So I will find out from my superior if I have the mandate to commit GII, then we can do so. But it is well within our mandate just to say that it is a fight against corruption, and GII will not shy away from the fight against corruption.
Michael, thank you very much. Michael Kebodi is the head of corporate affairs at the Ghana Integrity Initiative. There will be more conversations on this.